I knew we would get to this question sooner or later, Swifty Taylor. Let me give you a little briefing quickly on the late great Metal Dragon. Most didn't know him the way I did. Yes, he was a Oakland Kung Fu master. Yes, he was married 7 times. Yes, he jumped off that boat in the Mediterranean when he was dealing with those drug dealers. So there's a lot of layers of the onion when you're talking about the late great Metal Dragon. I would characterize our relationship definitely as a student-professor relationship. And part of my process in becoming a king, yes, Uncle Herb's spiritual man shack was involved too, but that was kind of the icing on the cake. My years dealing with the Metal Dragon were largely surrounded by the issues of sustainable agriculture, composting, cleansing. What happened in the Metal Dragon sauna stayed in the Metal Dragon sauna. We did a lot of mantras. He was a devotee of Elizabeth Clare Prophet, who in my estimation was a full-blown moonbat, but you don't throw babies out with bathwater. So Metal Dragon had a hard time dealing with his wife of that time, who we called the New Age Quaker. She was a hardcore legalist who, let's say, she loved men and hated men at the same time. And that's an understatement. So Metal Dragon was a great trainer of mine and a dear friend of mine. And he taught me about essential oils. And he taught me about herbs. And he gave one hell of a, what people in healers would call reflexology, Metal Dragon called damn good Tootsie Rubs. He gave a good foot massage. We know this. And those Tootsie Rubs were epic. So he'd throw me through his far infrared sauna, put me on the chi machine. He'd have me sprinting, a lot of wood chopping on his property, a lot of driving metal railroad spikes into wood and retrieving them. He called it psychophysical imprint in order to toughen me up. So Metal Dragon was a phenomenal instructor. He was a phenomenal Kung Fu man. And he was, we had a heart relationship, me and the Metal Dragon. We'd sit in the sauna and he'd say, you don't judge me. Who am I to judge, right? So I said, of course I can't judge you. And then at one time he says, are you ever gonna get married? At that time I wasn't a king, but he said, Trick, are you ever gonna get married? I said, I don't know if I want to. I don't know if it's right for me. And I said, I'm not like you. After 3 times, I would have said no. And he goes, I don't quit. I said, it's kind of crazy, 7 marriages, but that was the Metal Dragon. And so that's how we rolled. We did a lot of Kung Fu. We did a lot of training. He had a crazy life. He did a lot with all over the Mediterranean as a massage therapist. And I love the guy. That's all I can say. And he taught me a lot about healing modalities and Oakland Kung Fu. And so there's a lot to be said about the Metal Dragon. And the day he passed, the woman at his funeral, they talked about like he was going to be reincarnated, but someone previously had made the ascension. I'm like, who's making these decisions up? Because they didn't rightly see the Metal Dragon. So some moonbat made the ascension, but Metal Dragon's being recycled into, like, I don't know, a Japanese Asian beetle, or maybe a squirrel, or maybe, I don't know. And that's another thing about that woman at the Metal Dragon's church who looks at me. She's about 360 pounds, and she was George Washington in her previous life. And I say, well, I go along with it, and I said, I think I was Genghis Khan, Elizabeth Gish, and maybe George Patton. And she goes, oh, you're so silly. But that's the thing about these past lives people. They always get to be who they want, and I never get to be who I want. That don't seem fair to me. So they're not crazy, but I'm crazy. So anyways, it was a funny thing. Metal Dragon was an awesome man, a good friend, and taught me, in fact, I wouldn't be a king today if it wasn't some of the training that I went through with the Metal Dragon. He was part of being at the backside of the desert, you dig? And I'll say this about Metal Dragon. And I've stated it once during this rant, but I'll state it again. What happened in the Metal Dragon sauna stays and stayed in the Metal Dragon sauna.